There's a hidden world beneath our feet, one that's been quietly rewriting the story of human history. Think about it. While we walk on the surface, going about our daily lives, entire chapters of our past lie buried in the darkness below, waiting to be uncovered. And when they are, they don't just add footnotes to history, they shatter long-held beliefs, revealing civilizations far more advanced, interconnected, and mysterious than we ever imagined. These subterranean discoveries aren't just relics, they're puzzles, each piece forcing us to rethink what we thought we knew. Take a moment to picture this: deep underground, in places untouched by sunlight for millennia, archaeologists have stumbled upon cities carved entirely into rock, sprawling networks of tunnels that defy explanation, and artifacts so strange they seem to belong to another world. These aren't the stuff of legend, they're real, and they're changing the game. How could ancient societies, without the technology we have today, achieve such feats? What were they hiding or protecting? And most hauntingly, what else is still down there waiting to be found? That's exactly what we're diving into today. From the depths of Turkey's Derinkuyu, an underground metropolis capable of sheltering thousands, to the puzzling stone spheres of Costa Rica, buried in labyrinthine tunnels, we're counting down 24 subterranean discoveries that have turned history on its head. Each one is a clue, a piece of a much larger puzzle that stretches across continents and millennia. Some hint at lost technologies we still don't understand. Others whisper of cultures that vanished without a trace, and a few, they suggest our timeline of human achievement might be missing entire chapters. So if you're ready to question everything you've been taught about the past, join me as we venture into the shadows where the Earth itself holds the secrets we're only beginning to uncover. Beneath the rugged hills of Cappadocia in Turkey, an entire city sleeps in the darkness, one that defies everything we thought possible about ancient engineering. Derinkuyu isn't just a few hidden tunnels or chambers. It's a sprawling underground metropolis descending 18 stories deep into the earth with enough space to shelter 20,000 people. Picture that for a moment, a city carved entirely by hand over 2,000 years ago, complete with ventilation shafts that brought fresh air to its deepest levels, wells for water, stables for livestock, and even places of worship. This wasn't just a temporary hideout. It was a fully functioning world beneath the surface, designed to sustain life for months, if not years. The precision of Derinkuyu's construction is staggering. Narrow passageways could be sealed off with massive stone doors, each weighing hundreds of pounds, acting as a defense against invaders. Some tunnels stretch for miles, connecting to other underground cities in the region, hinting at a network far larger than we've uncovered so far. But here's the mystery: how did ancient people, without modern tools or blueprints, achieve such a feat? The rock here is soft enough to carve but sturdy enough to support multiple levels, suggesting an intimate knowledge of geology that rivals today's engineers. What's even more fascinating is why it was built. Historians believe Derinkuyu served as a refuge during times of war or persecution, a place where entire communities could vanish underground until danger passed. But some researchers speculate there might be more to the story. Could these tunnels have held spiritual significance? Were they meant to protect something or someone beyond just survival? And perhaps the most tantalizing question of all, how much of Derinkuyu remains undiscovered? Explorers have only mapped a fraction of its tunnels, and new chambers are still being found. What else lies hidden in the silence of those ancient corridors? Every new discovery in Derinkuyu doesn't just add to history, it rewrites it, proving that our ancestors were far more resourceful, connected, and enigmatic than we ever imagined. While Derinkuyu reveals the ingenuity of underground civilizations, another ancient wonder continues to baffle us, not beneath the earth, but within one of humanity's most iconic structures. The Great Pyramid of Giza, standing tall for over 4,500 years, still guards secrets in its very bones. Recent high-tech scans have uncovered something unexpected: hidden voids deep within its massive stone blocks, spaces that don't appear on any ancient blueprint. These aren't just small gaps or cracks. One chamber, nicknamed the Big Void, stretches nearly 100 feet long, hovering mysteriously above the pyramid's grand gallery. What's inside these uncharted spaces? Theories range from the practical to the extraordinary. Some archaeologists propose they could be structural features designed to relieve pressure from the pyramid's immense weight. Others whisper of undiscovered burial chambers, perhaps even the true resting place of Pharaoh Khufu, whose mummy has never been found. But the most tantalizing idea: that these voids might hold artifacts or records from a civilization far more advanced than we've credited. Ancient Egyptian texts speak of sacred knowledge stored within the pyramid, and if even a fraction of those legends hold truth, these chambers could rewrite history. The mystery deepens when you consider how these voids were found. Modern technology like muon radiography, a technique that uses cosmic rays to map dense structures, revealed their existence, proving that after millennia of study, the pyramid still outsmarts us. Imagine what else might remain hidden, invisible to the naked eye, waiting for the right moment to be discovered. And here's the real puzzle: if these chambers were intentional, why were they sealed off so completely? Were they meant to protect something or to keep it hidden? Every scan, every new discovery in the Great Pyramid doesn't just add to its legend. It forces us to reconsider what we think we know about the ancient world's capabilities. With each layer we peel back, the pyramid seems less like a tomb and more like a riddle carved in stone. Hidden beneath the rolling hills of Zhejiang province in China lies a mystery that has stumped archaeologists for decades: the Longyou Caves. 24 vast hand-carved chambers stretch beneath the earth, each one a masterpiece of precision and scale. Unlike the underground cities of Cappadocia or the pyramids of Egypt, these caves leave no paper trail. No inscriptions, no artifacts, not even a whisper of their builders in historical records. Yet here they stand, a silent testament to an ancient project of staggering ambition. The sheer scale of the Longyou Caves is breathtaking. Some chambers soar nearly 100 feet high, with ceilings and walls so perfectly smooth they look machined rather than chiseled. Over 2 million cubic feet of sandstone were removed to create this labyrinth, yet there's no evidence of where all that rock went: no debris piles, no nearby construction projects using the material. Even more puzzling, the walls are covered in uniform, parallel chisel marks, suggesting a highly organized workforce with tools and techniques far beyond what historians attribute to the region 2,000 years ago. Then there's the question of purpose. Unlike Derinkuyu, these caves weren't designed for shelter or defense. The layout lacks any clear residential or storage features, and their remote location makes trade or military use unlikely. Some researchers propose they served as imperial tombs or ritual spaces, yet no remains or religious artifacts have ever been found. Others point to the acoustics certain chambers produce: eerie echoes, leading to speculation about sound-based ceremonies. But without a single carving or artifact to decode their meaning, the caves remain a blank slate. The most haunting possibility: that the Longyou Caves were abandoned mid-construction. Tool marks abruptly stop in some areas, as if workers simply walked away one day. No collapse, no invasion, no natural disaster explains their disappearance, just silence. Were the builders driven out? Did they vanish into history, taking their secrets with them? What makes the Longyou Caves so unnerving isn't just their precision, but their anonymity. Every other ancient wonder comes with clues, hieroglyphs, pottery, legends. These caves offer nothing but stone and shadows, and that's what keeps archaeologists coming back. Because somewhere in those echoing halls, there's a story waiting to be heard, one that might rewrite our understanding of China's ancient past or reveal a civilization we never knew existed. Beneath the sun-drenched island of Malta lies one of the most enigmatic underground structures ever discovered, the Hypogeum of Hal Saflini. This labyrinth of tunnels and chambers, carved meticulously from solid limestone over 5,000 years ago, feels less like an ancient relic and more like a portal to another world. Unlike the functional cities of Derinkuyu or the silent mystery of the Longyou Caves, the Hypogeum pulses with eerie intention. Its walls curve in precise, almost organic shapes, leading to chambers so acoustically perfect that a whisper in one room can be heard clearly throughout the entire complex. What makes this place truly extraordinary isn't just its construction, it's the way sound behaves here. Certain frequencies resonate with unnatural clarity, creating vibrations that seem to hum through the very bones of the structure. Researchers have found that male voices chanting at specific tones amplify in ways that defy natural acoustics, suggesting the Hypogeum's builders possessed a sophisticated understanding of sound waves millennia before modern science could explain them. Were these tunnels designed as a giant instrument, a place where ritual chants could induce trance-like states or even alter consciousness? Then there's the so-called oracle chamber, where a niche carved into the wall transforms spoken words into deep, otherworldly echoes. Some believe this was the heart of sacred ceremonies, where priests or priestesses channeled messages from the beyond. Others point to the discovery of thousands of human bones, many showing signs of ritualistic placement, hinting at practices tied to death or ancestral worship. But here's the unsettling twist. Among the remains, archaeologists found skulls with elongated shapes, unlike any known Mediterranean population. Were these the remains of a forgotten people, or something even more mysterious? The Hypogeum's most haunting question isn't just what happened here, but why it was buried so completely. Unlike other ancient sites, there's no evidence of gradual abandonment. It was sealed with deliberate care, as if to keep its secrets or its power locked away forever. And perhaps that's the most compelling clue of all. Because when you stand in those echoing chambers, feeling the weight of the earth above you, it's hard to shake the sense that this wasn't just a place for the living. It feels like a threshold, one that ancient people believed could bridge worlds. Off the coast of Japan's westernmost island, beneath the crystal-clear waters of the East China Sea, lies one of archaeology's most tantalizing enigmas, the Yonaguni Monument. At first glance, this massive underwater structure appears to be a stepped pyramid, its terraced walls and sharp edges cutting through the ocean floor with uncanny precision. Stretching nearly 250 feet long and rising 80 feet from the seabed, it looks like something straight out of an ancient legend. But here's the catch. No one can agree whether it was shaped by human hands or the whims of nature. The debate over Yonaguni splits experts into two passionate camps. On one side, geologists point to the region's active tectonic activity, suggesting the structure's flat plains and near-perfect right angles could be the result of natural sandstone fracturing over millennia. Yet others counter that the monument's features defy random chance. Its symmetrical staircases, what appear to be carved pathways, and even what looks like a ceremonial plaza at its summit all hint at deliberate design. Marine archaeologist Masaki Kimura has spent decades studying the site. documenting features he believes are unmistakably man-made, including what resemble tool marks and even a carved face resembling Moai statues. Then there's the timeline. If human who built it, the monument lies submerged under nearly 80 feet of water, meaning it would have been above sea level during the last ice age over 10,000 years ago. That predates Japan's oldest known civilizations by thousands of years. Could this be evidence of a forgotten culture, one advanced enough to quarry and move massive stones? Some theorists connect it to myths of lost continents like Mu or Lemuria, though mainstream science dismisses those claims, but the most compelling clue might be what surrounds it. Nearby, divers have found what look like smaller pyramids, stone circles, and even a trench that resembles an ancient roadway. If natural, why do these features cluster so densely in one area? If man-made, what catastrophic event, rising seas, earthquakes, could have swallowed an entire complex so completely? Yonaguni doesn't just challenge our understanding of history, it taunts us. Because whether carved by nature or humans, it forces us to confront how little we truly know about the past, and how much might still be hidden beneath the waves, waiting to rewrite our story. Beneath the dense jungles of Vietnam lies a labyrinth so vast, so ingeniously designed, it changed the course of history, the Cu Kai tunnels. Stretching over 120 miles, this underground network served as a hidden fortress during the Vietnam War, sheltering soldiers, housing hospitals, and even concealing weapon factories beneath the earth. But here's the twist. While most know these tunnels as a modern marvel of guerrilla warfare, recent discoveries suggest their roots might dig far deeper into the past. Could this sprawling maze have been carved centuries before conflict ever reached its soil? Walking through the Cu Kai tunnels today, you'd struggle to imagine humans navigating these claustrophobic passageways, some barely 2 feet wide. Yet during the war, entire communities lived here for months, surviving airstrikes by vanishing into the earth. The design is a masterclass in adaptation. Trapdoors hidden beneath leaves, air vents disguised as termite mounds, and even underwater entranceways to throw off pursuers. But archaeologists have uncovered something even more intriguing. Certain sections, built with markedly different techniques, show signs of extreme age, weathered stone supports, tool marks inconsistent with modern implements, and layers of sediment suggesting centuries of disuse before their wartime revival. Local legends whisper of the tunnel's older purpose. Some villagers speak of ancient Cham or Khmer builders, civilizations known for their underground temples and water systems. Others point to folklore about earth dragons, serpentine deities said to have carved tunnels as sacred pathways. Could these myths hold a kernel of truth? Explorers have mapped strange, off-grid chambers deep within the system rooms with no military function, their walls adorned with faint, pre-colonial carvings. One such chamber, sealed behind collapsed rock, contained pottery shards carbon dated to the 9th century. The implications are staggering. If parts of Cu Kai predate modern history, who built them? And why were they escape routes during ancient conflicts, sacred spaces for rituals, or even part of a lost trade network? The tunnels force us to reconsider how civilizations across time have turned to the underground, not just for survival, but for secrecy, spirituality, or something we've yet to understand. What's certain is this: Cu Kai isn't just a wartime relic. It's a palimpsest of human ingenuity, with each era leaving its mark on the earth. And as researchers peel back those layers, one question lingers: how many more of these hidden worlds lie beneath us, their stories still buried in the dark? The jungles of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula hide a secret beneath their lush canopy, a sprawling underworld of crystal-clear waters and echoing caverns known as cenotes. These natural sinkholes, formed over millennia as acidic rainwater dissolved the region's soft limestone, are more than just geological wonders. They're submerged time capsules, preserving traces of the ancient Maya and perhaps even older civilizations. Dive beneath the surface and you'll find yourself in a labyrinth of underground rivers stretching for hundreds of miles, their walls adorned with stalactites like frozen waterfalls. But it's what lies in the silt and shadows that's rewriting history. Archaeologists exploring these watery depths have uncovered pottery, jade offerings, and even human remains, some arranged with deliberate care, others scattered as if caught in sudden tragedy. The Maya revered cenotes as gateways to the underworld, places where the gods could be appeased through rituals. At the sacred cenote of Chichen Itzá, divers recovered gold figurines, carved bones, and the skeletons of young children, echoing grim accounts of sacrificial ceremonies. Yet other discoveries hint at a darker force at work, layers of sediment containing traces of extreme drought, suggesting these caves may have also served as refuges during catastrophic climate shifts. The real mystery, though, lies in the unexplored passages. Less than 10% of the Yucatan's cave systems have been mapped, and every expedition reveals new chambers. In one tunnel, researchers stumbled upon a massive column of rock carved with intricate symbols, a language no one can yet decipher. Elsewhere, they found footprints preserved in ancient clay, left behind by someone walking these tunnels over 10,000 years ago, long before the Maya rose to power. Who were they? What were they seeking in the darkness? Then there's the water itself. Some cenotes contain layers of freshwater floating atop salt water, a phenomenon the Maya might have exploited for survival during dry seasons. Could these underground rivers have been part of a hidden water network sustaining cities during times of famine? Or were they pilgrimage routes guiding the faithful to sacred sites beneath the earth? The cenotes whisper a tantalizing truth that the past isn't always buried in dry ruins or dusty tombs. Sometimes it's waiting in the stillness of a flooded cave where light never reaches and time moves differently. And with every dive, we're not just uncovering artifacts, we're piecing together stories of resilience, faith, and desperation that challenge everything we thought we knew about how civilizations rise, fall, and adapt. Buried beneath the windswept plains of modern-day Pakistan lies a city so advanced, it rivals the urban planning of modern metropolises Mohenjo-Daro. Flourishing over 4,000 years ago, this jewel of the Indus Valley civilization boasted streets laid out in precise grids, multi-story brick homes with private bathrooms, and a drainage system so sophisticated it wouldn't be matched for millennia. Walk its ruins today, and you'll find yourself tracing the blueprint of a society that mastered harmony between form and function long before the Romans built their first aqueduct. What's most striking about Mohenjo-Daro isn't just its scale, home to an estimated 40,000 people at its peak, but its egalitarian design. Unlike other ancient cities where palaces and temples dominated the skyline, here the architecture speaks of collective prosperity. Uniform brick sizes suggest standardized weights and measures, while the Great Bath, a massive public pool lined with waterproof tar, hints at ritual or social practices centered on communal gathering. Even the sewers running beneath every street reveal a society that prioritized public health with almost modern foresight. Yet for all its brilliance, Mohenjo-Daro holds a haunting mystery: its sudden abandonment. Around 1900 BCE, the city emptied. No evidence of invasion, no weapon, cracked bones or burned walls, no signs of revolt, just silence. Archaeologists have sifted through the layers, uncovering eerie clues. Human skeletons litter the streets, some clutching hands as if frozen mid-moment. others lie face down near wells, their poses suggesting swift, catastrophic ends. Theories abound. Some point to climate change shifting river patterns that turned fertile land to dust. Others propose a more chilling scenario. Traces of radioactivity found in the ruins, though hotly debated, have sparked speculation about ancient technological disasters or even celestial events. But perhaps the most compelling clue lies in the mud. Layers of silt suggest repeated, devastating floods, a slow suffocation of the city by the very waters that once nourished it. Mohenjo-Daro's legacy isn't just in its bricks and drains, but in the questions it leaves unanswered. How did a civilization so advanced vanish without a whisper? And if their knowledge was so profound, what else might they have known, secrets now lost to the Indus silt? The city's ruins stand as a monument not just to human ingenuity, but to the fragility of even the greatest societies when nature decides to rewrite the story. 17,000 years ago, in the pitch-black depths of what is now southern France, someone held a flickering torch against a cave wall and began to paint. The result, the breathtaking galleries of Lascaux, a time capsule of prehistoric artistry so vivid, so alive with movement, that stepping into these chambers feels like walking straight into the Ice Age. Bulls charge across the rock in ochre and charcoal, their muscles tensed as if frozen mid-gallop. Horses seem to leap from the stone, their manes flowing like wind. But here's what keeps archaeologists awake at night. These aren't just random sketches. The animals overlap in precise patterns, arranged in sequences that some researchers believe hold coded meaning, a language of symbols lost to time. What strikes you first about Lascaux is the sheer technical mastery. These artists didn't just outline shapes, they harnessed the natural contours of the cave walls to create depth, using pigments mixed with animal fat to make colors cling to the rock for millennia. Some figures are painted high on ceilings, suggesting scaffolding or deliberate risk-taking to reach sacred spaces. Even more intriguing, certain animals, like the elusive unicorn depiction, don't match any known species. Were these imaginative creations, or could they represent creatures that vanished from human memory? Theories about Lascaux's purpose range from the practical to the profound. Some argue the paintings were hunting manuals, teaching young tribesmen animal anatomy through art. Others point to the cave's acoustic-specific chambers amplify sound eerily well, hinting at ritual spaces where drumbeats or chants might have brought the paintings to life. But the most tantalizing idea comes from researchers who have mapped the artwork against star patterns from 17,000 years ago. Certain animal groupings align with constellations like Taurus and Orion, suggesting the caves could have been an ancient observatory, a celestial calendar etched in stone. Then there's the mystery of the symbols. Dots, grids, and strange handprints recur throughout the caves, often clustered near specific animals. Could these be early counting systems, tracking lunar cycles or migrations? Or perhaps signatures of individual artists? The most haunting possibility is that they're fragments of a larger story, one we'll never fully decipher. Lascaux's greatest lesson might be humility. For all our technology, we still can't say for certain why our ancestors returned to these dark chambers, torchlight dancing on the walls, to leave messages in pigment and stone. Were they praying to the spirits of the hunt, recording celestial events, or simply saying, "We were here"? The caves don't answer. They only echo, a whisper across centuries, reminding us how much history remains written in places we've yet to explore. In the heart of India's Deccan Plateau, a mountain has been turned inside out not by nature but by human hands. The Ellora Caves, a complex of 34 temples carved directly into volcanic basalt cliffs, represent one of history's most audacious architectural feats. Unlike traditional structures built upward, These sanctuaries were sculpted downward, chiseled from the top of the rock face to the base in a process that defies logic. The crown jewel, the Kailasa Temple, a monument so massive, its construction required the removal of 200,000 tons of stone, equivalent to digging the Great Pyramid of Giza in reverse. Standing before Kailasa, you're met with a surreal sight, an entire freestanding temple, complete with courtyards, bridges, and intricately carved pillars, all painstakingly hollowed from a single rock. Every surface tells a story, gods and goddesses frozen in bas relief, epic battles from Hindu mythology stretching across walls, and celestial beings watching from the ceilings. The precision is staggering. Pillars were left perfectly symmetrical, their fluted designs mirroring those in distant stone temples, proving the builders worked from detailed mental or physical blueprints. Even more astonishing, this wasn't a slow, generational project. Archaeologists estimate Kailasa was completed in just 18 years, a blink in architectural time. How did they do it? The logistics boggle the mind. Without modern tools, workers would have had to remove an average of 60 tons of rock every day, all while maintaining millimeter-perfect accuracy. Some scholars suggest they used a vertical excavation technique, carving top-down to minimize scaffolding needs. Others point to copper chisels and iron picks found nearby, though these tools seem inadequate for such scale. Local legends offer a more mystical explanation, that the temple was built by the gods themselves, its construction a divine act beyond human capability. But the real secret might lie in the rock itself. Basalt, while hard, fractures predictably along natural plains. Master stonemasons could have read the stone like a map, exploiting weaknesses to carve efficiently. And here's the twist: Ellora isn't just a Hindu site. The complex includes Buddhist and Jain temples too, each faith's artisans contributing to this underground marvel over 6 centuries. This coexistence suggests something remarkable, a rare moment in history where religions shared space peacefully, their devotion literally shaping the earth. What lingers after visiting Ellora isn't just awe at its scale, but the haunting question of what was lost. The caves contain no records of their architects, no diagrams of their plans. Every technique, every calculation was passed down orally or through practice, then vanished with its creators. Today, as lasers scan the temples for hidden chambers, we're left to wonder, did they leave behind clues in the stone itself, waiting for us to decipher their methods? Or was their greatest lesson not in how they built, but in why, a testament to what humans can achieve when faith, patience, and ingenuity carve a path through solid rock? Beneath the sun-baked plains of Peru's Nazca Desert, where rain might not fall for years at a time, an ancient civilization thrived against all odds, not by fighting the harsh environment, but by working with it. The Nazca people, famous for their colossal geoglyphs etched into the earth, left behind another marvel far less visible but just as extraordinary, a labyrinth of subterranean aqueducts known as puquios. These weren't simple wells or ditches. They were a masterclass in hydraulic engineering, a network of spiral stone shafts and underground canals that tapped into hidden groundwater, channeling it to the surface with precision that still baffles engineers today. The genius of the puquios lies in their design. Walk across the desert today, and you'll spot their signature spiral entrances, stone-lined funnels descending deep into the earth, some reaching over 50 feet down. These weren't just access points, they acted as wind-powered pumps, harnessing the desert's relentless breezes to push air into the tunnels below, keeping water flowing through the system without a single mechanical pump. The channels themselves, carved through bedrock and reinforced with river rocks, followed the natural slope of the land, allowing gravity to do the rest. And here's the kicker, many of these aqueducts still function perfectly, over 2,000 years after their construction. But how did the Nazca, without metal tools or written language, achieve such sophistication? Some researchers believe they mapped underground rivers using sound tapping the ground and listening for echoes to detect water pockets. Others point to the puquio's alignment with certain geoglyphs, suggesting the Nazca viewed water as sacred, weaving its management into their cosmology. The most compelling clue, the system's resilience. While modern wells in the region dry up after decades, the puquios have outlasted empires, proving their builders understood something we're only now relearning. Sustainability isn't about forcing nature to obey, but adapting to its rhythms. What's even more remarkable is what the puquios reveal about Nazca society. These weren't just survival tools, they were social glue. Maintenance required collective labor, and water distribution followed strict rules, hinting at a highly organized community. Could this shared reliance on hidden water have fueled the cooperation needed to create those massive desert drawings overhead? It's a tantalizing thought that the same hands that carved channels beneath the earth might have sketched giant spiders and hummingbirds into the landscape above, binding the practical and the spiritual into one enduring legacy. The puquios force us to rethink what we label primitive. Here was a civilization flourishing in a place modern engineers would call uninhabitable, not through brute force, but through observation, innovation, and respect for the unseen forces beneath their feet. And that raises a humbling question. How many other ancient solutions lie forgotten, waiting to teach us how to live in harmony with the earth? Deep beneath the Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico, hidden inside the Nazca mine, lies a chamber that feels like it belongs on another planet, the Cave of the Crystals. Imagine stepping into a cavern where the walls, floor, and ceiling are studded with colossal selenite crystals, some stretching longer than a school bus and weighing over 50 tons. Glowing faintly in the beam of a headlamp, these translucent giants seem to pulse with an eerie energy, their razor-sharp edges catching the light like frozen lightning. This is no artist's rendering or sci-fi set piece. It's a real, natural wonder, one that took 500,000 years to form under conditions so extreme, humans can only survive inside for a few minutes without protective gear. The story of these crystals begins with a perfect storm of geology. The cave sits above a magma chamber, which heated groundwater saturated with minerals to nearly 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Over millennia, the scorching water deposited layer upon layer of gypsum, slowly growing the crystals into the monstrous formations we see today. The air in the cave is so humid, over 90%, that even a few breaths can flood your lungs with moisture, making it feel like drowning on dry land. Scientists who study the chamber must wear special cooling suits, their time inside limited to brief, grueling shifts before the heat becomes unbearable. But here's the real mystery. The Cave of the Crystals shouldn't exist at all, at least not in its current state. The mine's pumps, installed to keep groundwater from flooding the tunnels, accidentally drained the cave's mineral-rich waters, halting the crystal's growth. Without that liquid incubator, the giants are now slowly deteriorating in the dry air, which raises a spine-tingling question: how many other crystal caves lie hidden in the Earth's crust, still growing in the darkness? Geologists suspect Nazca's chamber isn't unique. Similar conditions likely exist in other volcanic regions, waiting to be uncovered. And then there's the life question. Nestled inside some of the crystals, researchers found tiny pockets of liquid time capsules from the cave's watery past, trapped within those bubbles. Ancient microbes dormant for tens of thousands of years, yet still viable. These extremophiles, organisms capable of surviving in brutal environments, have forced scientists to reconsider the limits of life itself. If microbes can thrive in a boiling, mineral-saturated tomb like Naka, where else might life be hiding? The Cave of the Crystals doesn't just challenge our understanding of geology, it blurs the line between Earth's harshest realities and something almost supernatural. Standing before those shimmering giants, it's hard not to feel like an intruder in a realm meant for forces far older and more powerful than humanity. And perhaps that's the point. Some wonders weren't meant to be fully conquered or explained, just glimpsed, leaving us to wonder what other secrets the planet keeps locked away in its deepest, hottest vaults. In the rolling hills near Visoko, Bosnia, an audacious claim has ignited one of archaeology's fiercest modern debates. What if Europe's largest pyramids aren't in Egypt or Mexico, but buried beneath layers of soil and skepticism? The so-called Bosnian pyramids, first brought to global attention in 2005 by researcher Semir Osmanagic, defy easy categorization. On one side, a passionate group of archaeologists and volunteers insist these are man-made structures dating back over 12,000 years, proof of a forgotten advanced civilization. On the other, mainstream scientists roll their eyes, dismissing the formations as nothing more than oddly symmetrical hills shaped by natural geological forces. So who's right? At first glance, the evidence seems compelling. The largest structure, dubbed the Pyramid of the Sun, rises over 700 feet, taller than Egypt's Great Pyramid. Its slopes form near-perfect triangles aligned with the cardinal directions, a precision that feels intentional. Excavations have uncovered stone blocks with smooth, flat surfaces, along with underground tunnels snaking beneath the site, some lined with carved megaliths. Thermal imaging studies suggest the structures retain heat differently than natural hills, hinting at possible hollow chambers beneath. But here's where things get messy. Geologists point out that the region's bedrock is prone to fracturing into angular shapes, creating natural formations that can mimic human construction. The stone blocks, they could be conglomerate rock fractured by tectonic activity. The tunnels, ancient mining shafts from medieval or Roman times, repurposed by later civilizations. Even the alignment argument falters under scrutiny. Nature occasionally produces symmetrical landforms by chance, yet the most intriguing clues come from the soil itself. Proponents cite unusual layers of artificial concrete-like material and organic residue dating back millennia, suggesting human intervention. Then there's the sheer scale of the site: 5 alleged pyramids, a network of tunnels, and even what some claim are ancient energy-emitting quartz crystals. If this was a hoax or misidentification, why would so many disparate elements converge in one place? The debate isn't just academic, it's a cultural lightning rod. For Bosnia, still healing from the wounds of war, the pyramids represent potential pride and tourism revenue. For mainstream archaeology, they're a cautionary tale about the dangers of pseudoscience muddying rigorous research. But perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. Could these formations be natural landforms later modified by humans, like Serbia's enigmatic Artanj mountain? Or are we witnessing the slow unmasking of a genuine prehistoric marvel, one that could rewrite Europe's ancient timeline? For now, the hills keep their secrets. But whether natural wonder or human masterpiece, the Bosnian pyramids challenge us to ask, how much of history's truth might still be hidden, not in distant deserts or jungles, but right beneath our feet, waiting for the right eyes to see it? Beneath the bustling streets of Paris, where tourists flock to the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, lies a shadow city of the dead, the Catacombs. This sprawling underground ossuary holds the bones of 6 million souls, carefully stacked in patterns that turn human remains into macabre architecture. Skulls form walls, femurs create borders, and tibias line arches in a chilling display of order amid mortality. But beyond its eerie reputation as Europe's largest grave, the catacombs hide something even more intriguing: whispers of older, forgotten tunnels that might rewrite the city's ancient past. The official story begins in the late 18th century, when overflowing cemeteries forced Paris to relocate its dead. Workers spent years moving bones into the abandoned limestone quarries beneath the city, creating the galleries visitors see today. Yet explorers have long suspected these tunnels hold secrets predating the mass burials. Some passages abruptly end at collapsed walls, their original purpose lost. Others bear strange marking symbols scratched into stone that don't match any known quarryman's code. Then there's the unsettling discovery of staircases leading nowhere, suggesting entrances or chambers sealed deliberately. Rumors persist of artifacts hidden in the catacombs' uncharted depths. During World War II, French resistance fighters used the tunnels, leaving behind caches of supplies and graffiti. But older relics occasionally surface: medieval pottery shards, Roman-era tools, even fragments of parchment tucked into crevices. Could these be accidental losses or clues to a time when the tunnel served a different purpose? Some historians speculate the quarries might have been repurposed as clandestine meeting spaces during religious persecutions, their walls absorbing centuries of untold stories. The most tantalizing mystery revolves around the Fountain of the Samaritan, a legendary underground spring mentioned in medieval texts. According to accounts, it lay beneath what's now the catacombs, its waters rumored to have healing properties. Expeditions have searched for it, but the labyrinth's complexity, over 200 miles of twisting passages, makes systematic exploration nearly impossible. Modern laser scans reveal anomalies, voids behind walls, chambers with unusual acoustics, even what might be ancient water channels. Are these natural formations or evidence of a sacred site buried beneath layers of bone? Paris's underground isn't just a memorial to the dead. It's a palimpsest of human history where every turn could lead to a Roman quarry, a medieval crypt, or a Revolution-era hideout. And with 90% of the tunnels still unmapped, who knows what relics or revelations might lie waiting in the dark? The catacombs remind us that cities, like people, have layers. And sometimes the deepest ones hold the most surprising truths. There's a city lost to the sea that's haunted India's imagination for millennia: Dwarka, the golden kingdom of Lord Krishna, described in ancient Hindu texts as a place of unparalleled splendor, with towering gates, opulent palaces, and streets paved with precious stones. According to legend, it vanished beneath the waves after Krishna's death, sinking into the Arabian Sea as if the gods themselves had reclaimed it. For centuries, scholars dismissed the story as myth until marine archaeologists began pulling artifacts from the seabed off modern-day Gujarat, uncovering structures so old and precise they've reignited a tantalizing question: could these crumbling walls be the remains of a civilization we thought was only fantasy? What divers have found is nothing short of extraordinary. Submerged under 100 feet of water lie massive stone blocks, some arranged in geometric patterns that mirror urban planning. Circular structures resembling ancient foundations dot the seafloor, along with anchors, pottery shards, and even what appear to be the remnants of a grand staircase. The most compelling evidence: these ruins align almost perfectly with descriptions from the Mahabharata, the epic that chronicles Dwarka's glory and demise. The text mentions a city built on reclaimed land, protected by a series of gates, a detail that matches the layout of the underwater site. Even more striking, carbon dating places some artifacts at over 9,000 years old, a timeline that predates most known ancient civilizations by millennia. But here's where the mystery deepens. geological studies reveal that this stretch of coast was indeed above water around 7,000 years ago, before rising sea levels swallowed it whole. Core samples show signs of sudden subsidence, a catastrophic sinking event that could explain the legend of Dwarka's overnight disappearance. Yet skeptics argue the ruins might belong to a later port city, one that simply borrowed the mythical Dwarka's name. After all, how could a metropolis that advanced exist so long before Mesopotamia or the Indus Valley? The answer might lie in the artifacts themselves. Among the recovered items are stone anchors unlike any found elsewhere, their design suggesting a seafaring culture with advanced naval technology. Then there's the odd composition of the masonry, some blocks fused together by an unknown technique, resisting erosion far better than expected. Most haunting of all are the diver accounts of strange magnetic anomalies near the site, as if something massive and metallic still lies buried in the silt. Whether this is Krishna's Dwarka or another forgotten city, the implications are staggering. If a sophisticated society thrived here 9,000 years ago, only to vanish beneath the waves, what else might be hidden in the ocean's depths? And if the legends were true about the city's existence, could they also be right about its fate, that it fell not just to nature, but to some celestial or divine reckoning? The ruins refuse to give up their secrets easily, but every stone lifted from the seabed whispers the same tantalizing possibility, that history as we know it is missing entire chapters. And somewhere in the darkness below, the truth is waiting. Long before the Aztecs engineered their famed floating gardens, another civilization in Mesoamerica was mastering water in ways that still leave engineers speechless, the Olmecs. Often called the mother culture of the region, they didn't just build towering stone heads or sacred pyramids. They sculpted the earth itself into a hidden network of drains, canals, and reservoirs so advanced it rivals modern urban plumbing. Beneath the ruins of cities like La Venta and San Lorenzo, archaeologists have uncovered intricate systems of U-shaped stone channels, some lined with waterproof clay, others engineered to follow precise gradients that kept water flowing effortlessly. These weren't just ditches, they were carefully calculated feats of hydraulic engineering, designed to control floods, irrigate crops, and even funnel water to ceremonial spaces with almost mathematical precision. What's truly staggering is the timeline. The Olmecs were perfecting these systems as early as 1200 BCE, centuries before Rome built its first aqueduct. Their drains, often hidden beneath plazas or temples, used gravity to direct rainwater through a labyrinth of tunnels, preventing erosion and protecting their cities from the region's torrential downpours. At San Lorenzo, researchers found a series of basalt troughs that acted as pressure regulators, slowing water's flow to prevent surges during storms. Elsewhere, stone-lined cisterns stored water for dry seasons, proving the Olmecs didn't just react to nature, they anticipated it. But here's the puzzle. How did a civilization without metal tools or written language achieve such sophistication? Some clues lie in the materials. The Olmecs used volcanic basalt, a stone so hard, shaping it would have required grinding techniques passed down through generations. The uniformity of their channels suggests standardized units of measurement, possibly based on body proportions or celestial alignments. Even more intriguing, the systems mirror natural watershed patterns, hinting that the Olmecs studied the land as intently as any modern hydrologist. The real mystery, though, isn't just how they built these systems, it's why they vanished. Later cultures like the Maya and Aztec adopted Olmec innovations, but the original engineers left no manuals, no detailed records of their methods. Were these techniques taught through oral tradition, lost when their cities declined? Or did the Olmecs guard their knowledge as closely as their jade masks and ceremonial axes? One thing's certain, walking through the ruins today, you can still hear water whispering through those ancient channels, a ghostly echo of a civilization that tamed rivers beneath their feet. And it makes you wonder, if they could engineer such wonders with stone and sweat, what other secrets might still be buried, waiting to rewrite our understanding of the America's first master builders. Perched atop a lonely cliff in the Czech countryside, Houska Castle has stared down the centuries with an air of uneasy vigilance. Its thick stone walls, Gothic arches, and eerie frescoes would be fascinating enough, but it's what lies beneath the fortress that chills the blood. At the heart of the castle, sealed beneath heavy flagstones, gapes a pit so deep, so utterly lightless, that locals have whispered about it for 1,000 years. They call it the gateway to hell. The legends are as persistent as they are terrifying. Medieval chronicles speak of prisoners lowered into the hole on ropes, only to scream in agony moments later, pulled up with hair turned white and minds shattered. Others claim winged creatures once crawled from its depths, or that the pit emits an unnatural blue glow at night. When the castle was built in the 13th century, the chapel was constructed directly over the hole, as if to contain whatever lurked below. Even the castle's architecture seems defensive. Staircases spiral the wrong way to hinder upward movement, windows face inward rather than outward, and the entire structure feels less like a home and more like a prison for something. But science offers a different, though no less fascinating explanation. Geologists suspect the pit is a collapsed karst formation, a common phenomenon in limestone-rich regions where water dissolves rock over millennia, creating vast underground voids. When the ceiling of such a chamber gives way, it can leave a sheer, seemingly bottomless shaft. Similar features exist worldwide, like Venezuela's Sarasaranama sinkholes or Mexico's Cave of Swallows. Yet Houska's pit has one unnerving difference. Despite multiple expeditions, no one has ever reached its end. Probes dropped into the darkness never hit bottom, and sonar scans return garbled, inconclusive readings. Was the castle built here because the pit was feared, or because someone wanted to keep watch over it? The truth might lie somewhere between legend and geology. During World War II, the Nazis occupied Houska, using it for occult experiments. Witnesses reported strange machinery being lowered into the pit, and declassified documents mention depth measurements that abruptly stop, as if whatever they found was too disturbing to record. Decades later, researchers detected bizarre magnetic fluctuations near the hole, along with infrasound waves at frequencies known to induce dread in humans. Could these just be natural phenomena, or is there something about this place that defies explanation? Houska Castle doesn't give up its secrets easily. But whether you believe it guards a Hellmouth or simply a geological oddity, one thing is certain: some doors are better left unopened, and some pits, no matter how deep we dig, refuse to reveal what waits at the bottom. Hidden beneath the lush rainforests and coffee plantations of Costa Rica's Diquis Delta, a mystery sits half buried in the mud. Hundreds of perfectly round stone spheres, some as small as a baseball, others towering taller than a person and weighing over 16 tons. These aren't just rocks shaped by time or water. Their near-flawless geometry, some deviating less than 2 millimeters from perfect sphericity, suggests intentional craftsmanship of astonishing precision. But here's what truly baffles archaeologists. These orbs were carved from granodiorite, an incredibly hard volcanic stone, by a culture that left no written records, no tools, and no explanation for why they went to such extraordinary lengths to create them. The first modern discovery of these spheres came in the 1930s, when workers clearing jungle for banana plantations stumbled upon them, often lying in precise alignments or clustered in groups. Some were arranged in straight lines leading to ancient settlements, while others formed arcs or geometric patterns that might have held celestial significance. But the real shock came when excavations revealed many spheres weren't just placed on the surface, they'd been deliberately buried, sometimes in deep pits, as if part of a ritual or hidden knowledge system. How did pre-Columbian artisans, without metal tools or modern measuring devices, achieve such perfection? Experiments show shaping these stones would have required painstaking abrasion using smaller rocks and sand, a process that could take decades for a single sphere. The precision implies more than patience. It suggests sophisticated understanding of geometry and possibly even mathematical constants. Some researchers point to the sphere's alignment with solstice points or constellations, while others propose they mark territorial boundaries or sacred sites. The most haunting theory emerges from local Boruca indigenous legends, which speak of the spheres as the bullets of Tara, a thunder god who used them to punish humans. Could these stories preserve a distorted memory of their original purpose, or were they something even more practical, ancient ball bearings for moving megaliths or weights for textile production? The truth may lie in their hidden contexts. Many spheres were looted or dynamited by treasure hunters before archaeologists could document their original placements, erasing vital clues. What's undeniable is that these stones defy the stereotypes of primitive technology. Their existence forces us to reconsider what ancient societies valued and what they were capable of. Because when you stand beside one of these silent, smooth giants, running your hand over its cool surface, you're not just touching a rock, you're touching a question carved in stone, left behind by people who knew we'd come looking for answers. In the early 1900s, a story surfaced that seemed too incredible to believe: a network of vast caverns beneath the Grand Canyon, allegedly filled with relics straight out of ancient Egypt. The tale began with an article in the Arizona Gazette, detailing an expedition led by explorer G.E. Kincaid, who claimed to have discovered a labyrinth of tunnels adorned with hieroglyphs, copper weapons, and even mummified remains. According to his account, the caverns stretched for miles, their walls covered in symbols resembling those from the Nile Valley, alongside artifacts that bore no resemblance to known Native American cultures of the region. The Smithsonian Institution was said to be involved, but records of the discovery mysteriously vanished, if they ever existed at all. What makes this story so tantalizing isn't just the scale of the claim, but the eerie details that linger in the gaps. Kincaid described a central chamber housing a statue resembling a cross-legged deity, not unlike Buddha or Osiris, surrounded by smaller figures in postures of reverence. The tunnels, he said, were precisely carved, with smooth walls and archways that suggested advanced engineering. Even more puzzling, the artifacts reportedly included items made from materials not native to the area, like sheets of hammered copper and what appeared to be Egyptian-style ceramic vessels. If true, this would imply transoceanic contact thousands of years before Columbus, or evidence of a lost civilization that independently developed parallel symbolism. Mainstream archaeologists have long dismissed the story as a hoax or sensationalized fiction. The Smithsonian denies any involvement, and no physical evidence from the caves has ever been verified. Yet whispers persist. Local indigenous tribes, including the Hopi, have oral traditions of a vast underworld beneath the canyon, inhabited by their ancestors or even older beings. Some explorers claim to have found entrances to unexplored cave systems, only to have them mysteriously sealed off by authorities. And then there's the geology itself. The Grand Canyon is riddled with natural caves, many still unmapped, leaving room for the possibility that something remains hidden in the shadows. The most compelling argument for taking the story seriously, similar discoveries elsewhere. In Illinois, the so-called Burroughs Cave yielded artifacts inscribed with what appeared to be Libyan and Phoenician script, though these too were dismissed as forgeries. Across the Americas, anomalous finds, from Roman coins in Texas to Olmec carvings with African features, hint at a far more interconnected ancient world than textbooks allow. Could the Grand Canyon caves be another piece of that puzzle? Or are they simply a cautionary tale about the allure of buried treasure and the human tendency to see what we want to see? For now, the truth remains buried, whether under layers of rock or layers of myth. But the story endures because it taps into something deeper, our fascination with the unknown and the suspicion that history, as we've been taught it, might just be missing a few chapters. And in a place as vast and untamed as the Grand Canyon, who's to say what might still be waiting in the dark? Derinkuyu may be the most famous, but it's just the tip of the iceberg in Cappadocia's subterranean world. Hidden beneath the fairy chimneys and volcanic rock formations of central Turkey, archaeologists have uncovered over 200 underground cities, some small enough to house a few families, others vast enough to shelter entire communities for months. Places like Kaymakli, Özkanak, and Mazi reveal a pattern. These weren't isolated hideouts, but nodes in what may have been the largest underground civilization in human history. The scale is staggering. Tunnels stretch for miles, connecting cities like veins beneath the earth. Some passages are wide enough for 3 people to walk abreast, while others narrow to tight crawl spaces designed to slow invaders. Ventilation shafts plunge hundreds of feet, ensuring fresh air reached even the deepest chambers. At Kaymakli, 8 excavated levels reveal stables carved directly into the rock, wine presses, and communal kitchens with chimneys disguised as natural fissures. But here's what's truly mind-bending: geophysical surveys suggest we've only uncovered a fraction of the network. Ground-penetrating radar hints at undiscovered chambers beneath known sites, and local legends speak of tunnels stretching all the way to the Black Sea. Why go to such extremes? The conventional answer points to defense. Cappadocia's porous rock made it easy to carve but hard to fortify, leaving inhabitants vulnerable to raids by Persians, Mongols, and early Christians fleeing Roman persecution. Yet some researchers argue the city served a deeper purpose. Certain chambers align with solstice sunrises, their walls adorned with symbols resembling celestial maps. Others contain altars and baptismal fonts, suggesting ritual use. Could these tunnels have been sacred spaces where communities gathered not just to hide, but to commune with something beyond the surface world? The most tantalizing clue lies in the construction itself. Carbon dating places some cities as far back as the Hittite era, around 3,600 years ago, yet techniques vary wildly between sites. Some tunnels show precise, almost machine-like drilling, while others bear the crude marks of stone tools. This inconsistency raises a provocative question. Were these cities built by a single culture over centuries, or did multiple civilizations separated by time rediscover and expand the same underground refuge? One thing's certain: Cappadocia's underground cities force us to rethink what ancient societies were capable of. Because when you stand in those silent passageways, feeling the weight of centuries pressing down, it's hard not to wonder, were these just shelters or the bones of a world we've barely begun to understand? Off the southern coast of Greece, where the cerulean waters of the Aegean lap against the Peloponnese shoreline, lies a silent city frozen in time beneath the waves, Pavlopetri. Dating back over 5,000 years, this sunken settlement isn't just the oldest submerged city ever discovered. It's a perfectly preserved snapshot of Bronze Age urban life, complete with two-story houses, intricate drainage systems, and streets laid out in a grid so precise it rivals modern city planning. Walking its submerged lanes with underwater cameras feels like drifting through a ghost town where the residents simply vanished overnight, leaving their dishes on the tables and their tools in the workshops. What makes Pavlopetri extraordinary isn't just its age, but its clarity. Unlike other underwater ruins obscured by silt or coral, this city's layout is startlingly intact. Archaeologists have mapped courtyards, tombs, and even a large rectangular building believed to be a palace or administrative center. The pottery found here, fragments of everyday jugs and ceremonial vessels, bears markings linking it to the Minoans, a civilization long thought to dominate trade in this era. But here's the twist. Pavlopetri predates the height of Minoan influence by centuries, suggesting urban sophistication in this region began far earlier than historians assumed. The real mystery, though, is how the city fell. Unlike legendary Atlantis, Pavlopetri's demise wasn't catastrophic. There's no evidence of tsunamis or earthquakes, just a slow, relentless rise in sea levels that swallowed the city over generations. Core samples from the seabed reveal a haunting truth. The water here rose nearly 10 feet between 3000 and 1000 BCE, a change that would have forced residents to constantly adapt, building walls higher, relocating buildings farther inland, until finally the sea won. But why didn't they abandon the site sooner? Some researchers point to the city's strategic location along trade routes, its wealth tied to the sea that eventually consumed it. Others speculate the community held on out of sheer stubbornness or spiritual attachment, refusing to surrender their home until the last street vanished beneath the waves. Perhaps the most poignant discovery is a cluster of graves near what was once the city's edge. The skeletons lie in fetal positions, their arms curled as if cradling invisible burdens. Were these the last holdouts buried as the water lapped at their doorsteps, or do they mark an earlier tragedy, a reminder that Pavlopetri's story is one of many layers, each sinking slowly into oblivion? Today, the ruins face a new threat not from nature but from humans. Tour boats anchor haphazardly above the site, their chains scraping fragile walls. Looters have stolen artifacts, erasing pieces of the puzzle before archaeologists can study them. It's a race against time to document Pavlopetri before the modern world finishes what the sea began. Because this city isn't just a relic, it's a warning, a glimpse of how even the most advanced societies can be humbled by the tides of change. And as our own coastlines creep inland, Pavlopetri's silent streets seem to whisper a question: how long until our cities, too, become stories told by the sea? Beneath the towering pyramids of Teotihuacan, where the Avenue of the Dead stretches toward the horizon like a path to the gods, lies a discovery so strange it defies logic: a hidden tunnel, sealed for nearly 2,000 years, its floor shimmering with a river of liquid mercury. Discovered beneath the Temple of the Feathered Serpent in 2008, this subterranean passage isn't just an architectural marvel, it's a riddle wrapped in poison. Mercury, a metal so toxic it can kill with prolonged exposure, pooled in deliberate depressions along the tunnel's length, its silvery surface reflecting torchlight like a cursed mirror. Why would a civilization as advanced as Teotihuacan's, a city that rivaled ancient Rome in its heyday, go to such lengths to bury this deadly substance in its most sacred place? The tunnel itself is a masterpiece of engineering. Stretching over 300 feet, it descends nearly 50 feet below the temple, its walls coated in powdered pyrite to create the illusion of walking through a golden cavern. At its heart, archaeologists uncovered a trove of artifacts: jade statues, carved shells, and rubber balls, all carefully arranged as if part of a ritual tableau. But it's the Mercury that haunts the imagination. Ancient Mesoamerican cultures associated the liquid metal with the underworld, believing it mirrored the rivers of the afterlife. The Aztecs, who revered Teotihuacan as the city of the gods long after its abandonment, described such tunnels as Tlalocan, the paradisiacal realm of the water deity Tlaloc. Could this have been a symbolic recreation of that sacred space, where priests performed rites to commune with the dead? Yet Mercury's rarity adds another layer of mystery. Extracting it required heating cinnabar ore at high temperatures, a process the Teotihuacanos mastered centuries before European alchemists. Some researchers speculate the metals Hypnotic Chinese letter made it a stand-in for primordial waters, its reflective surface acting as a portal to the spirit world. Others point to its practical use. Mixed with pigments, it created vibrant vermilion paints for murals and ceremonies. But the sheer quantity found here, far more than needed for art, suggests a purpose beyond decoration. The most chilling theory emerges from the tunnel's terminus, a chamber lined with mercury pools, flanked by sculptures of jaguars and owls, animals associated with night and sacrifice. Was this a stage for initiations where the metal's fumes induced hallucinations, simulating a journey to the afterlife, or a deadly safeguard deterring tomb raiders with an invisible, odorless killer? The truth may lie in the city's sudden collapse. By the 6th century, Teotihuacan was abandoned, its temples burned in what appears to be a violent uprising. Did the Mercury, meant to bridge worlds, instead poison the very rituals it sanctified? Teotihuacan's Mercury tunnel doesn't just challenge our understanding of ancient science, it forces us to confront the lengths humans will go to touch the divine. Because in that dark, shimmering passage, the line between reverence and recklessness blurs, leaving us to wonder, were they harnessing the power of the gods or playing with fire they couldn't control? Deep beneath the Amazon rainforest, where the air hums with the buzz of insects and the canopy blocks out the sun, another world is waiting, one that defies everything we thought we knew about this ancient ecosystem. Recent expeditions have revealed a labyrinth of underground rivers and lakes so vast they rival some of the planet's largest freshwater systems. These aren't just trickles of water seeping through rock. They're roaring currents, silent black lakes, and submerged caves stretching for hundreds of miles, all hidden beneath the forest floor like a secret mirror of the world above. The scale is staggering. In Brazil's state of Amazonas, researchers using ground-penetrating radar and sonar have mapped caverns large enough to swallow skyscrapers, their waters flowing in channels that connect to surface rivers in ways we're only beginning to understand. Some of these subterranean lakes are so massive, they've been given names. Lake Hamza, an underground body of water stretching over 4,000 square miles, flows silently beneath the Rio Amazonas, moving at a glacial pace through porous rock. But here's what's truly mind-bending. These hidden waterways might be far older than the rainforest itself, possibly dating back to a time when the Amazon was a vast inland sea. What thrives in these lightless depths? Early explorations have uncovered blind fish, translucent crustaceans, and even microbial life unlike anything found on the surface, organisms that evolved in total isolation, untouched by the world above. Some species show genetic adaptations to extreme pressure and low oxygen, hinting at ecosystems that operate on rules we've yet to decode. Then there are the cave's walls, etched with strange mineral formations that resemble coral reefs, suggesting these tunnels might have once been open to ancient oceans. But the real revelation isn't just biological, it's cultural. Indigenous tribes like the Yanomami have oral histories of rivers that flow beneath rivers, describing underground passages used for travel and ritual. Pottery shards and stone tools found near cave entrances hint that these waterways might have served as hidden trade routes, allowing pre-Columbian societies to move undetected through contested territories. Could these tunnels have been a refuge during conflicts or sacred spaces where rituals were performed away from prying eyes? The most tantalizing question, though, is what else remains undiscovered. Less than 5% of the Amazon's underground networks have been explored, and every expedition reveals new chambers, new species, new mysteries. As deforestation threatens the surface, these hidden worlds may hold the last untouched remnants of an ecosystem we're only beginning to appreciate. And somewhere in those dark, echoing caverns, there's a story waiting, one that could rewrite not just the history of the Amazon, but our understanding of how life thrives in the most unexpected places. The rose-red cliffs of Petra have dazzled explorers for centuries, its iconic treasury facade carved into sheer rock serving as the poster child of Nabatean ingenuity. But behind that famous sandstone monument lies a secret, a honeycomb of tunnels, chambers, and hidden passageways that snake deep into the mountainside, most still untouched by modern hands. Recent ground-penetrating radar scans have revealed anomalies, voids, and structures buried beneath centuries of sediment and rubble, hinting that less than half of Petra's true scale has been uncovered. What began as a trickle of discoveries, a sealed tomb here, a collapsed stairway there, has now erupted into a tantalizing realization. We've only been scratching the surface of this ancient wonder. Take the recent excavation beneath the Temple of the Winged Lions, where archaeologists uncovered a network of ceremonial chambers lined with intricate mosaics depicting gods and mythical creatures unknown to Nabatean art. The pigments, still vibrant after 2 millennia, suggest these spaces were reserved for elites or sacred rites. Nearby, LiDAR imaging exposed a sprawling subterranean water system, far more advanced than previously thought, not just channels and cisterns, but pressurized pipes that could have fed gardens or even fountains in a city famed for thriving in the desert. The implications are staggering. If the Nabateans engineered hydraulic systems this sophisticated, what other technologies might have been lost to time? Then there's the mystery of the blocked tunnels. Behind the monastery, Petra's second-largest monument, drones equipped with thermal cameras have detected airflow in sealed corridors, suggesting hidden chambers beyond. Local Bedouin guides tell stories passed down for generations of a golden hall concealed beneath the Ad-Dar Plateau, its entrance deliberately collapsed to deter looters. Could this be the long-lost treasury of King Aretas Roman IV, or perhaps a repository of scrolls from Petra's heyday as a crossroads of trade and knowledge? The Nabateans left almost no written records of their own, leaving historians to piece together their story from outsider accounts. A single sealed chamber could rewrite everything. The most electrifying clue emerged just last year. A shaft discovered beneath the street of facades, its walls covered in graffiti-style inscriptions in a previously unknown script. Early translations suggest it's a blend of Aramaic and early Arabic, possibly a mercantile code used by traders. But the real shock came when carbon dating placed the markings centuries older than Petra's assumed peak, pushing the city's origins back into the shadows of prehistory. Who were these earlier settlers, and what compelled them to carve a city into solid rock? Petra's uncharted depths force us to confront a humbling truth. Even the most studied archaeological sites can hide game-changing secrets. With every scan, every cautious excavation, we're not just uncovering lost rooms, we're decoding the legacy of a people who mastered the desert, then vanished into its sands, leaving behind riddles in stone. And as technology peels back the layers, one question lingers. What will Petra reveal when it finally decides to speak? From forgotten cities to enigmatic tunnels, these 24 subterranean discoveries pull back the curtain on a past far stranger and more complex than textbooks ever let on. Think about it: every time a shovel strikes the earth, every time a sonar ping echoes through uncharted caverns, we're not just unearthing artifacts, we're piecing together fragments of a story that keeps rewriting itself. The deeper we dig, the clearer it becomes. History isn't a straight line. It's a labyrinth with branches leading to civilizations that mastered engineering beyond their time, to cultures that vanished without warning, and to technologies we still can't fully explain. Take Derinkuyu's subterranean metropolis or the Mercury-laced tunnels of Teotihuacan. These aren't just feats of survival. They're proof that ancient societies saw the earth not as an obstacle, but as a canvas. They carved, tunneled, and built with a vision that rivals our own, turning rock and soil into sanctuaries, sacred spaces, and even cities. And here's the humbling truth: for every discovery we celebrate, there are likely dozens more waiting in the dark, their secrets preserved by layers of time and sediment. What's thrilling is how technology is changing the game. Ground-penetrating radar, LiDAR, and even muon imaging are acting like X-rays for the planet, revealing hidden chambers and lost networks without lifting a single shovel. Who's to say what we'll find next? Maybe a library of forgotten knowledge beneath the sands of Petra, or a sunken settlement older than Pavlopetri, waiting to append our timelines again. The Earth, it seems, is still full of surprises, but here's the real takeaway: these discoveries aren't just about the past, they're mirrors. They force us to question what we think we know about human resilience, innovation, and even our place in the world. If cultures thrived underground, harnessed unseen rivers, or mapped stars from cave walls, what does that say about us today? Perhaps the greatest lesson isn't just that history is deeper than we imagined, but that humanity's potential has always been vaster than we dared to dream. So what's next? That's the beauty of it. We don't know, but one thing's certain: the Earth isn't done sharing its secrets. And if you're as captivated by these mysteries as we are, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below telling us which discovery blew your mind the most. The conversation doesn't end here. After all, the next great revelation might be just beneath your feet, waiting for the right moment to come.